Hello, good afternoon. This is David Sutter talking to you, and today is my weekly trade predictions for the upcoming trading week of September 30th through October 4th, 2019. Okay, so one thing we need to note here that is this Friday is the first Friday of the week, which is non-farm payroll. Okay, so or NFP, which means that this is the biggest trading day of the week when the U.S. government will release all the employment data, for the entire U.S. and we will see if there are more jobs or less jobs. This is a good indicator how the U.S. dollar is doing and the biggest trading day. So investors will trade up or down based on results of the NFP, and we will see, possibly a huge spike in price. Not always, but a lot of times there will be a big jump, a big leap in price during the non-farm payroll. And I typically try to get people to never trade during a non-farm payroll because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, but if you can time it where if all the predictions are good, you look at a lot of different websites and you see that the price is going to shoot up, for example, and you have a buy stop, or you have you're watching this live and you're ready to place a buy trade, and you hop in there when the price shoots up, you can catch a lot of pips. But typically the price is so up and down during that time period, I try to tell people just to stay away from it. There's too much volatility. So anyhow, just keep an eye out this coming Friday for non-farm payroll, which is around 8:30 in the morning Eastern time, New York Standard Time, and I would try to avoid trading it. Other than that, it should be a pretty decent trading week. I'm going to look at all the major currency pairs on a 15-minute chart. I'm going to show you what has happened this past week, okay, with all the different currency pairs, and then I'm going to look at some higher time frames and then try to give you my analysis on what I think is going to happen this coming week. Okay, so to begin with, we need to look at Euro USD. Okay, and we see this past week the price has slowly dropped. Okay, which means if this is dropping, the US dollar is gaining. Okay, now this has been poised to go into uptrend for quite some time and has yet to really go into the uptrend. Same thing with pound USD here. Okay, you see the Great British Pound US dollar versus US dollar has been dropping, and the Australian US dollar is kind of the same situation. Okay, now if these are dropping, the US dollar should be gaining. Okay, now let's look at US dollar Swiss franc. Okay, so we see kind of like that. Okay, it ended pretty much where it began, so it's not really gained a whole lot. Same with USD JPY and US dollar Canadian dollar. So pretty much all the markets have been more or less in the range of market. Well, all these currencies are fighting against one another, and they all want to gain position. Okay, which is to be expected, really. And now Euro USD, what's going to happen with this one? Okay, we look at the 4-hour chart. Shift this over a bit. We see we hit this strong level of support. Okay, it did drop this past week, but now, like I said, it hit this point here, here, and here 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 3 times that it hit this point, and it's going to come back up. I can almost guarantee you that it's going to be going to the uptrend now, based on this level of support. Now, if we go to daily, we see the same thing basically, and if we go to weekly, okay, we kind of see the same thing. But we also know that the price had been at a lower point before. Okay, I can mark that. We can mark that right here. That this is a real low point here. There's a low point here, and low point here right now. Tentative. Okay, we don't know if it's going to drop more. It has been lower in the past, so it could definitely still drop even more. Okay, all these areas are not 100% solid. Now, how we know we've hit the final bottom and that this is getting ready to come up is simply draw a trend line. Okay, now if we look here, this is on a weekly, which is a big time frame, but if we draw a trend line coming down like this, okay, we see all these points here line up perfect. Okay, so all we have to do is wait for this trend line to break 2 candles above, and then we want to hop in on a buy trade. Okay, that will indicate that we are in a long uptrend. Okay, now is that going to happen this coming week? Probably not. It's probably going to be a few more weeks before we see a new uptrend for the Euro USD. Okay, and my guess is that it's probably going to retrace back up and then shoot down even more. I don't know. Okay, but anyhow, you know, this is poised to go into a uptrend, a long uptrend at some point, and we should see that, you know, here in the coming months. And US dollar has been slated to go into a long downtrend for quite some time as well. So if one goes up, the other one comes down, right? So moving on to pound USD, if we move to a 4-hour chart, we see we have a down arrow here, right? And also on the daily, we have an up arrow, and weekly we have an up arrow. Okay, so long term, this is going to be going up. Okay, just here in the immediate short term, it should be going down. All right, probably on the 1 hour, it already hit a level of support. It's going to bounce back up, but here eventually it's going to shoot back down because there's no blue arrow yet on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so, you know, looking at this, it's probably going to drop even more. It's hard to say, but what we can do is draw a trend line coming down like this. Okay, this way we see that we have, you know, this downtrend coming down, right? And if this is broken, because the price came up and shot back down again, all right, but once this trend line is broken, then we will have a solid uptrend. If I draw a level of support right here at this mark, okay, now we see what's called a falling wedge, and the price will come down, back up, and get trapped inside of here, and then eventually will break out and shoot up. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And that, at that point, you know, we should have a long uptrend. Now the price could break the support and keep dropping, and that's fine. What we want is to wait for this trend line here to break by about 2 candles. We'll be fine. Once it breaks, then we can get in for a long-term buy. Okay, because we already see that there's uptrend formed on the daily and weekly. So, you know, it's been dropping here the last week or so, but then again, you know, whatever goes down must come back up, or whatever goes up must come down. It's just a normal cycle in the Forex market. Moving on to Australian dollar, US dollar, we look at a 4-hour chart. We have an up arrow that has formed, right? But is it really going into an uptrend? Okay, if we draw these points on the map, all right, we have all these points that connect perfect to form a downtrend. Okay, this is your level of resistance. Okay, so meaning that yes, we have an up arrow, but until this trend line is broken, I would not buy. All right. Now, when will it break this trend line? Probably sometime Monday, early Tuesday. I'm thinking that it's going to drop some more, but then again, you know, I could be wrong. Long term is definitely going to go up because all the higher time frames show that it wants to go up, even the monthly. Okay, so this is a very, very good indicator that yes, this will be going up. Okay, so just be patient, you know, and don't pull the gun too early. Don't pull the trigger too early, and just wait for that trend line to break. Once it breaks, you'll be good for a long-term buy. Okay, you can hold it for a few days, possibly even a few weeks. I don't know. You know, you just got to monitor your swap fees and decide if you really want to keep that trade for long term. US dollar Swiss franc moving on. This is going to have kind of an inverse, opposite relationship to the other ones we looked at. If we look at the 4-hour chart, we see that we have up arrow, but it should be getting ready to come down. If we look at the daily, we have up arrow, but the weekly we have a down arrow. Okay, so you know, we have, I want to point out, if I can, this level of support right here on the 4-hour. Okay, this may not be perfect, but be close enough. Okay, show you we have an uptrend right here. Okay, now we don't have no red arrow yet. Okay, we have a red arrow, blue arrow, but no more red arrow yet on the 4-hour chart. If we look at the daily, kind of the same thing. There's no red arrow yet. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And what I think is going to happen is in the beginning of this week, we're going to see it shoot up. Okay, now depending on what happens with the non-farm payroll, you know, this week is going to be tentative, but I would bet that the price is going to shoot back up. Probably, let me mark this level here. Probably right about here. Okay, we have a level of resistance here that pretty much hit here almost, and with a level of support or resistance before. Right, so we're definitely at approaching the level of resistance. I would expect the price to come back up, touch this level of resistance, and then break out coming into a downtrend. So this week, most of this week I should say, expect the price to go up. Okay, this is on a daily chart you're looking at right here. So you can expect like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then possibly Friday break out. Yeah, so definitely mark this level of resistance. Draw your trend line. Either wait for this trend line to break or wait for this resistance to break. If it breaks by 2 candles, then you want to buy. If this breaks by 2 candles, you want to sell. Very, very simple, right? The thing is, you need to be patient. If you're going to trade this one, I would definitely wait until the end of the week. Now, of course, you know, looking at this new candle, the market is closed right now, so I can't really tell you anything. But when the market opens on Monday, look at this. If this candle is shooting back up, then buy and wait for this to catch at the top of this. You can set a small take profit, a few hundred points. If you go from here up, you're looking at 600-700 points. Very, very easy. So you can easily get a few hundred points off of that. Okay, just on a buy trade. So that is definitely something to look at, and then wait till you get a strong signal to sell. But even if you get a signal to sell, wait for this trend line to break before you actually place a sell trade, or wait for this resistance to break, and then once that breaks, then you're good for a long-term buy, because it's going to go up to even higher. I don't know how high, but it was definitely going to go even higher. Okay, so either way, you can definitely catch some pips with this one this week. Moving on to US dollar Japanese yen. We see on the 4-hour chart that we have a strong signal to sell, and both the daily and weekly show buy. Okay, and been like that for the last couple weeks. Then slowly wanting to go into an uptrend, whereas on the monthly, this is something I pointed out before, but I want to point it out one more time. In monthly, we have a strong downtrend. Okay, and I know this is not perfect, but close enough. Alright, so we have this strong downtrend. Once this price reaches this trend line, either it's going to break and keep going up, or it's going to shoot back down. I'm guessing that it's going to come down, but not right at this moment. Probably in the next few weeks, you will see it come back down. For now, I think it's going to go up, and it's going to slowly work its way up to this trend line right here, okay? So this is on a daily, even the weekly, we're going to see this slowly migrate its way up. So this week, probably next week, you're going to have a strong chance to buy. All right, and the US dollar Japanese yen, this pair usually typically will follow an inverse opposite relationship to the US dollar Swiss franc. Okay, so if this one is going to be going down, this one should be going up. Okay, so if this one's going up, this one should be going down, but it's really hard to say. But we do see here on the 4 hour that we have a red arrow and no blue arrow. So in the beginning of this week, I would probably bet that this is going to be dropping. Okay, and you know, maybe towards the middle or the end of the week, we'll see it spike back up again. For me, I would wait until you have a good, solid buy opportunity, because the bigger trend right now, you know, is showing bullish. Okay, we look at this on a weekly. Oops, you see that it definitely wants to go up, right? So even the daily wants to go up. So if this comes down the 4 hour or 1 hour chart, that's fine, but eventually it's going to spike back up. So that's what we want to look for. Look at the 4 hour chart, all right, even the 1 hour, and wait for a blue arrow. Okay, then that time you can look to buy. Okay, look for your downtrend and then place your get ready to place your buy trade. Moving on to US dollar Canadian dollar. Okay, this one has been ranging, and these two always butt heads. Okay, and it's really hard to say, you know, which way this price is going to go. I said last week this probably will form a range of market because the previous week had a range of market. So guess what it's been doing? It's been just moving in a flat sideways motion for the last couple of weeks, which is frustrating, but at the same time it's also okay because you get some good trade opportunities. Not a lot of pips, but you know, you catch a few hundred pips up, a few hundred pips down, it's okay. The main thing is, if you're on a 15-minute or even 30-minute chart, you know, trade from arrow to arrow, and this way you catch a lot of pips on the way down. Okay, now let's look at some higher time frames. Alright, if we look at the 4 hour, we have a down arrow. Okay, now I know the US dollar, Canadian dollar, US dollar have been wanting to go down. As you can see, it keeps hitting this level of support and bouncing off. Alright, now question is it going to go up again, or is it going to go back down? Very hard to say. Right now, daily we have an up arrow, and the weekly we have a down arrow. Even the monthly we have a down arrow. So the big trend is definitely bearish, right? But like I said, the US dollar is the strongest currency in the world, and it's going to fight. Alright, we see a solid downtrend right here. I like to identify my trend lines and identify my support and resistance levels to try and get a feel, get an idea of what the market will probably do. If we look here, we have a solid uptrend. Okay, so what does that mean? You know, it's like looks like an X, right? Well, this means we have a very good fight between the bulls and the bears, right? And who is the winner? Well, we have a down arrow, okay, and no up arrow. So based on my indicator, the bears are going to win, meaning this is going to shoot down. All right, you can almost guarantee that this is going to break out and could be coming down. It has been set to go into a downtrend for quite some time anyhow. Okay, if we look at the daily, okay, now the thing is, right now on the immediate thing, we see it here moving in a sideways fashion. So eventually this is going to get trapped inside of here. Okay, now I'm thinking this came up, sat here for a while, came back down to this level, came back up this level. I'm thinking that this is going to shoot up even more. You know, it's really hard to say, but it looks like we're forming an uptrend right here. So this is a down arrow. So this is a 4-hour chart. So in the beginning of this week, I would watch for the price to drop, hit this trend line, and shoot up even more. Okay, so be looking for buy opportunities this week with this pair. Like I said, it's been ranging a lot, but it looks like it's slowly forming an uptrend. So this week we should see an uptrend going into next week, and then maybe after next week, you know, going towards the middle or end of October, we'll see this breakout and form a downtrend. Okay, but at least for this week and probably next week, the following week, we should see an uptrend for this pair. Okay, it's hard to say, but you know, based on this, it looks like we definitely have a solid chance to buy. Okay, so that is my weekly trade predictions for this week. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll be more than happy to help you. If you do not have a copy of my Excalibur trend indicator, please contact me, and I can send you a copy of that as well. If you have not joined my Telegram Signal group, please let me know, and I can send you a link to join my Telegram Signal group. If you have not joined my Facebook group, there is a link below in the description of this video from our private Facebook group. And if you have any questions, there also is a link below in the description of this video from my personal Facebook account. You can contact me on Facebook. Okay, so with that said, let me know if you have any questions, and I will be more than happy to help you. Okay, so thank you and have a wonderful weekend.